the attitude of his football team. We'll see if that statistic holds up.
Kevin Butler will kick off. He kicked a 35-yard field goal. Eddie Murray at 25. And as we get underway, it'll be Randall Morris returning for the Lions. And he is tackled at the 26-yard line by Troy Johnson. Take a close look at the possessions of the Detroit Lions. Punted most of the time. And their field position not very good. They got the ball on the 35 of Chicago following a Bear turnover, but then they turned it over themselves. Bears have had the best starting spot. But we're all tied 3-3, and the Lions with a first down on their 26. Rusty Hilger, the quarterback. Garry James and James Jones are the running backs. The give is to Garry James. You wonder whether the Bears in the dressing room in intermission said, let's just snuff out Detroit's running attempts. Harris and Hampton that time.
You wonder about the offensive philosophy of the Lions. They talked all week about, you know, they haven't been able to make many yards on first down. Here they run it again on first down, just pick up 1 or 2 yards. They don't want to put Hilger in long passing situations, but yet they continue to call plays that, in fact, put them in those very bad situations.
Second down and 8, one of them right here. 3 wide receivers for Detroit, including Garry James, a running back. Here's James Jones on a quick opener, and Jones crosses the 30-yard line. It'll be third down and about 6 for the Lions. Jim Morrissey and Mike Singletary making the tackle.
That might have looked like a quick opener, Dick, and that's one of the reasons it wasn't successful. That was supposed to be a draw play where the quarterback goes back and fakes the pass and then hands it to the running back. But the Lions did not execute it with enough patience that time. Didn't fool anybody on the Bear side.
They're on their own 31. Lemuel Stinson and Troy Johnson, 2 rookies, in on defense for Chicago. Hilger gets time and going for Starring. He makes the catch down the sideline and is run out of bounds. On the first big play of this afternoon, Todd Crump knocks Starring out of bounds, but not before a 40-yard hookup.
Great job of Hilger waiting patiently in the pocket. This is a long pass down the field. It's going to take Starring a long time to get there. And now watch as he steps up, and watch this grab as Starring reaches above his head to make the grab. Big play. Stephen Starring is really having an outstanding afternoon.
Gary Lee was made inactive for this game, so Starring is one of 4 wide receivers, and he already has had a big day. And the Lions are threatening again with a first down on the Bear 29. Garry James fights his way forward for a couple of yards. Mike Singletary and Sean Smith in on the stop for the Chicago Bears.
You know, you build momentum throughout a football game in different phases of the game. One, obviously, is the running attack, and then there's the passing attack. You have a big play like the pass to Starring, and the quarterback feels good about his chances of completing the ball. The linemen are all excited because now they're moving down the field, and then you hand the ball off on a simple dive play and don't get anything out of it. So you're almost destroying your own momentum that you build up.
There you saw Mike Tomczak, who's the backup for the Bears today. Second down and 7. Hilger throws it away. Closest to it was Mike Richardson, and double covered was Pete Manley, who's complaining to the official that he was interfered with. You saw Mike Tomczak, and to bring you up to date on the Bears situation, Jim McMahon, who was taken off of IR, was put on the inactive list. He's going to be out with a sprained right knee another week. When the doctors checked him on Friday night, everyone thought McMahon would be the backup. Instead, Mike Tomczak, who suffered a left shoulder separation 2 weeks ago against Green Bay and is wearing special padding, is the man waiting in the wing. Third down and 7 for the Lions on the Bear 26. Hilger fires and almost intercepted. Diving after the loose ball was Vesty Jackson. Pass was intended for Jeff Chadwick.
Good pressure by the Bears this time. Steve McMichael, number 76, he's going to have the best shot at Hilger. The rule says grasp and control, but watch out. McMichael will reach out and grasp, but there's not the control he needs. Hilger really trying to make a big play here. They're almost turned into a disastrous play as Vesty Jackson made the break on the ball.
So Ed Murray is in to try a 44-yard field goal to try to give the Lions the lead. Holding is Arnold, and the kick is good. And the Lions and Wayne Fonts celebrate for the moment. With 12:19 remaining in the third quarter, Murray's field goal gives the Lions a 6-3 lead.
UCLA, Arkansas, the Cotton Bowl.
To their fingers, they trail the Lions 6-3 early here in the third quarter. The Green Bay Packers, meanwhile, are leading the Minnesota Vikings. That would have been a great prayer for Mike Ditka and the Bears if Green Bay could beat Minnesota. Well, they're leading 10-3 at halftime, and they know that a win today against the Lions would wrap up the division title. Don't have to worry about facing the Vikings and winning next week. Murray on the kickoff, and it's Thomas Sanders returning for Chicago. Sanders gets to the 22-yard line. Danny Lockett on the stop. Next Saturday, it begins with the NFL Today at noon Eastern time. Good matchup, Redskins and Bengals.
Well, we'll see if the Bengals have what it takes to be the Super Bowl champs this year. They're going against last year's champs, who had a great game last week against the Eagles.
We saw what they were made of. And Paul Georgetown, second half of the doubleheader. 1st and 10 for the Bears on the 26. On a fake draw, Harbaugh tries to run it out, but he's stopped from behind, and making the stop was George Jameson, who had 2 sacks against the Packers a week ago and has really played well in place of Jimmy Williams, who's on injured reserve with a knee injury. Look at what the Bears did in the first half. They had better field position than the Lions, but Detroit stopped them, basically.
Well, we're seeing 2 of the better field goal kickers in the NFL, and they are really coming into play today. Murray had a great kick on that last one.
Murray is 19 for 20 on the year. 2nd down and 6 for Chicago. Here's Anderson with Thayer blocking. And it doesn't go. And Anderson is down at the 31. Chris Spielman on the tackle. Will bring up 3rd down. Houston leading Cincinnati. Buffalo over the Raiders. That could really hurt the Raiders' chances for the division title out west. Giants and Kansas City. They know that the Eagles beat Phoenix yesterday.
And Dallas, they're showing that they still have the fire when it goes when they go up against the Redskins. 10-3 at half.
New England trying to hang on for a very slim wild card opportunity. 3rd down and 5. Bears are 1 for 7 on 3rd down conversions today. Harbaugh will run, and he'll get the 1st down plus. Into Lion territory and out of bounds. He goes out of bounds actually at midfield. But a good run by Harbaugh. 19 yards.
This should give the Bears the spark they need, although they can't really rely on Harbaugh to do this on 3rd down each time. But he shows the type of player he is. This is Michael Kofer coming on the rush. Number 55, he slips. This gives Wojciechowski the chance to get on him and make him a non-factor on the play.
That's the longest run of the day by the Bears. Until that time, their longest running play was 5 yards in the first half. 1st down midfield, Harbaugh. Heavily marked down. He completes the pass into Lion territory to the 42 to Dennis McKinnon. Dennis Gibson on the tackle, but there's a flag, and it appears to be against Chicago.
Illegal motion, number 29.
Dennis Gentry.
Well, the Bears went on a
1st down.
They went on a quick count that time, and Gentry wasn't set at his wide receiver position. This is all part of breaking in a new quarterback, getting used to how he calls cadence and how he wants to get the ball snapped. And Gentry, not used to playing with Harbaugh, wasn't set.
Mike Ditka, who has to be thinking somewhere back in his mind, when do I, if at all, decide to go to Mike Tomczak to pull out a game that could give the Bears the NFC Central Division title?
Well, Tomczak says he didn't really want to play unless needed. He may be needed.
1st and 15, Bears on their own 45. Harbaugh swings it out to Matsui. And he's wrestled down by Spielman. Back to the original line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd down. Make it 2nd down.
Good play by Harbaugh, not forcing the ball down the field. He is really showing me something as far as compared to the way he played last week against the Rams. Had all kinds of trouble last week reading defenses and going to the right guy. In fact, he threw a lot of balls where he was trying to guide it in there, trying to be too fine. Today, it seems like he's just kind of winging it out there, taking what the Lions will give you. They will give you a lot playing a lot of zone defenses.
2nd down, 10, midfield. Harbaugh completes to McKinnon. McKinnon may have the 1st down with that extra effort to the 40. Benny Blades on the stop. It'll be awfully close. Dennis McKinnon.
He might be just a little bit short, Dick. He ran an option route against McNorton. Did a nice job of shaking McNorton, but lost the amount of yardage he needed to get for the 1st down.
Came into the game as the leading receiver for the Bears. Consider that they gave up Willie Gault. They have more than made up for it, with people like Gentry having their best years and McKinnon having a fine year himself. 3rd down and 1, Chicago. They're in Lion territory. And on the quarterback keeper, Harbaugh easily has the 1st down. Nearly 8 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter here at Soldier Field. Jim Harbaugh, who's the #1 pick out of Ohio State a couple of years ago, not because the Bears needed a quarterback, but because they felt he was such a good athlete that they couldn't let it pass by. Now relying on Harbaugh to try to get him over the top.
Indication of how they feel about him, letting him run on the 3rd down there. A little delayed quarterback sneak. Nice play.
Harbaugh's the leading rusher today for the Bears with 30 yards. On 1st down, he tries to run again with no receivers open, and Keith Ferguson gets him from behind.
The plan of that play really didn't give Harbaugh a lot of chances. They only sent 3 receivers out on the play, and all of them were deep down the field. It appeared the Bears were going to go try and hit the long bomb for the touchdown, but the Lions are not a team that gives up a lot of long scoring plays because of their philosophy of bend and don't break.
I made a terrible mistake a few minutes ago, which of course is really going to bother a lot of people in Ann Arbor, and that is, I said Harbaugh out of Ohio State. Tom Zach is out of Ohio State. Harbaugh out of Michigan, and I hope they let me back up to Michigan again. Well, the Bears have held the ball for over 5 minutes. They have a 2nd down and 8 on the 36 of Detroit. On the draw play, Neil Anderson will pick up a few and create a 3rd and about 3. Jamison on the stop. There's the time remaining in the 3rd quarter. Wouldn't you know that you have Harbaugh of Michigan and Tom Zach of Ohio State waiting in the wings? Those 2 rivals never get away from each other for long.
No, it's a healthy competition. You know, you don't see this very often, but Tom Zach and McMahon are good friends. The team has really rallied around the way Tom Zach has played this year. He has an outstanding record as a starting quarterback, something like 14 wins and only 2 losses.
4 down lineman now. Tom Struthers, number 94, the former Eagle, in there on 3rd and 4. Harbaugh going deep for McKinnon, and he makes the catch. A great catch by McKinnon. Falling down, it seemed, right around the 10-yard line with James Griffin on the stop.
A lot of discipline on the part of McKinnon here. On a pattern like this, the tendency and the temptation is to go for the end zone after the catch. Watch how he makes sure of the catch, knowing that that's more important than getting 6 points at this time.
Not as spectacular as I led you to believe, but a clutch catch nonetheless for McKinnon, good for 22 yards.
On a day like today, that was as spectacular as you need.
1st and goal on the 10. Suey gets inside the 5. Chris Spielman on the tackle. You know, last week against the Rams, the Bears gave the ball to the fullbacks only 1 time.
Suey has carried a few times today. This is his best run. Watch as he just picks his way. His eyes get big, then he lowers his head and gets down inside the 5-yard line. What a tough guy, though. Really a blocker most of his career. That's for Walter Payton. Now he gets a chance to run the ball. He's going to try and get it in that end zone any way he can.
Harbaugh wants quiet. Bears looking to take the lead. 2nd and goal on the 3. And a fumble. We'll wait. Everyone holding their breaths right now. And it appears the Bears have recovered the fumble. That was a close call for Mike Ditka.
Well, you said that Harbaugh wanted quiet. The crowd really didn't give it to him, and there's a mix-up on the snap. Whether he didn't expect it when it came up or not, we'll never know, but the good job is that the Bears recovered it. But the fans have got to cooperate a little bit. They've got to give Harbaugh a chance to get his cadence underway, and they really hurt him that time.
He just wants a break from the crowd.
He wants quiet while the crowd wants to score.
Big play coming up and a timeout called, and a good timeout for Harbaugh because it is 3rd down, and if the Bears don't get a touchdown here, the best they would do would be a field goal to tie the game.
Well, they milled around there, and the 45-second clock ran all the way down.
4, and have held the ball for over 8 minutes on this drive, trailing the Lions 6-3, and they come out with what looks to be 4 wide receivers now.
Watch for Harbaugh on the quarterback draw here, though. This is an excellent situation for him.
And there it is. Harbaugh with a quarterback draw. Touchdown. Mr. Fouts, you're on the money. Quarterback draw it is, and the Bears take the lead. 9-6.
This is what Harbaugh does better than anything else at this stage of his career, and that's run the ball. He's the leading rusher for the Bears today. They brought in the 4 wide receivers to spread the Lion defense thin. Harbaugh did a nice job of finding the hole and getting into that end zone.
Kevin Butler has just missed 1 conversion this year. Wagner to hold. The kick is perfect. Penalty marker is down, however. Brett Wyatt will explain. Big play on the drive was a 22-yard pass to McKinnon.
Offside, number 29.
The kick is good, and it's 10-6. Here it is again as we go to commercial. The quarterback draw by Harbaugh that gives the Bears the lead.
Pulling this linebacker with him, and then let's watch the double blocking by the guards as Thayer and Bortz do a great job on their men, and then Hilgenberg will help on the double team here, and it leaves Harbaugh with a walk into the end zone.
Harbaugh rushed for 32 yards on that drive. That's more than the Bears ran for in the first half. On the kickoff, Carl Painter returning for the Lions. The flag is down. Painter with speed. Only man to beat him is Butler, and Butler with a great block knocks him out of bounds, but a penalty marker is down. Back on the 25-yard line, a 46-yard return by Carl Painter, and they're going to bring it back.
Holding, number 50, 10 yards, first down.
Danny Lockett, and that one hurt.
Oh, it really did, because you add the 46 yards on the return and the 10 yards on the penalty. That's a 56-yard penalty. Would have given the Lions great field position, a real momentum builder, and now they're backed up into they're deep in their own end, and the fans are throwing snowballs at them.
Tough break for the Lions, who trail 10-6, and the Bears gaining momentum on the field and in the crowd. And there you see the scoring drive. They used up 8 minutes and 14 seconds to take the lead. First down for the Lions on their 15 with 3:51 remaining in the third quarter. Hilger calling the play at the line of scrimmage. And they give us to Garry James off left tackle for a couple. And right now, for an NFL Today report. Let's check in again with Brent Musburger. Brent?
Dick, I tell you, the Chicago Bears can wrap up the division today. Take a look at this. Darren Nelson with a great catch, bobbles it, and Lee has got it for the Packers. And on that interception by Mark Lee, Green Bay has now moved inside the Vikings' 30-yard line. On the move again. Let's send you back to Dick.
Mark Lee with the interception for Green Bay. They put the pressure on the Vikings again. Meanwhile, the Lions with a 2nd down and 7 on the 18. Hilger going for James. He's got it. No! He would have scored easily down the sideline. Could not hold on and had beaten Dave Duerson. Hilger won't throw it.
Out and up pattern. It takes a while, but this is a perfect strike. Just bobbles the ball. Again, I got to go back to the cold hands there. He's got gloves on, so he doesn't have the feel for it. But this is a walk into the end zone if he can only make that grab.
The momentum. To the Bears. Hilger's pass, but it's caught. Flag is down. Chadwick with a 14-yard gain, and for Chadwick, his first catch of the day. Crum on the stop. It'll be a 1st down, but a flag.
I think it's going to be defensive holding.
Holding, number 24. Completed pass. Completed pass.
Yes, Fred. It is.
Declined. First down.
Took a while.
Well, what happened is that one of the Bears came up to him and said, well, we're going to decline it. Well, the Bears didn't have the choice. The penalty was against the Bears, so that kind of disrupted old Fred Wyant's concentration there a little bit.
Holding on Bestie Jackson. 1st down Lions on their 32-yard line. Anthony Page, who's strong and big, fires out to the 40-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 2. Again, let's check in with Brent Musburger. Brent?
Dick Mikowski on the roll, looking for daylight here for the Green Bay Packers. Throws it down, deflected, and Browner's got it. And the Vikings hold them off. Let's go back to Dick.
And Brent, the drama continues in the battle in the NFC Central Division, where the Vikings still trail the Packers, but dodge a bullet there. Bears leading the Lions 10-6 in a game that's too close to call right now with 2 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. 2nd and 2. Page does not have the fumble. Bears have it. Douglas. Maurice Douglas recovers a Lion fumble.
Well, Tony Page is just running the same play. He just gained about 7 yards on. He's going to hit the left side of the line here. We'll see who pops this ball loose. Pretty good hit here. Duerson looks like the guy. Right on the ball with his helmet. The ball pops loose. And Maurice Douglas there makes the recovery. Another look at it here. There's a big hole there, but Duerson just plugs it perfectly. He is almost like Mike Singletary there, playing as almost like a middle linebacker.
Turnover, and the Bears have it on the Lions 40-yard line. Sanders and Musker are the running backs. The pitch is to Thomas Sanders. And he picks up a couple of yards off the left side. Chris Spielman on the tackle. The Vikings and the Bears meet next week in the Metrodome, but that game will be meaningless if the Vikings don't come back and beat the Packers today and the Bears go on and beat the Lions. If those situations don't occur, next week's game is for the division title. Now, the loser will also have a wild card. In fact, the Bears are assured of playing at home in the playoffs, either as a division champion or as a wild card team.
What a bonus.
2nd down and 7 on the 38 of Detroit. Sanders is hit and a loss. Jerry Ball
Great play by Jerry Ball, knifing through there and bringing down Sanders on the underneath handoff here. Ball is right over the nose here. He's just going to knife right through there and make the play. He's a huge defensive nose guard. In fact, they say he weighs 292 pounds, Dick, but those are one of those weights back in July. You take a look at him now, if he's 292, he might be 392 with all the warm weather gear he's wearing, but a nice play there nonetheless.
Third-round draft pick in his second year out of SMU, a loss of 6 on the play. Third down and 13. Bears back to their 43. Harbaugh getting rushed by Ferguson. And the pass is incomplete, out of bounds. And the clock is stopped with 6 seconds to go in the third quarter. Ron Morris was the intended receiver. Morris shaken up a bit.
Really not the best of situations for any quarterback, third and long like that, and especially a young quarterback who's struggling.
Brian Wagner comes in on fourth down. Pete Manley goes deep for the Lions. The Lions avoid a difficulty. They had a great return on a punt by 46 yards. Nullified. They turned it over. The Bears couldn't do a thing. Manley hit immediately on the 12-yard line by Greg Clark. And that's the end of the third quarter here at Soldier Field in Chicago. It's the Bears 10 and the Lions.
First of all, Addix's snap is going to be low, but here's George Jamison. He's going to get by Addix and almost gets a hand on this block. Wagner has to go down, makes a nice grab of the ball, and Jamison lays out and just barely misses that ball.
It is snowing in Chicago. The Bears lead as we start the fourth quarter. Dick Stockton and Dan Fouts. Bears have forced 2 fumbles but have not capitalized. Lions on their own 16-yard line, and Garry James runs it out to the 21. Gain of 5 yards on that play. Dave Duerson from the secondary.
Prior to the last 2 first-down runs, the Lions had only been averaging about 2.5 yards per carry. They're doing a nice job of going right at the Bears, as they tried to do earlier in the game, running right at Hampton and Singletary in the middle.
Lions have already rushed for 78 yards. That's more than their season's average for a full game. And they've still outrushed the Bears. Second down and 4 at the 22. And Hilger gets rid of it. He got a big rush from Ron Rivera. Question is, did he throw it away to avoid a sack? And that's a judgment call, but he was not close to being in the grasp.
It really is a judgment call, and as a quarterback that threw the ball away many times to avoid a sack, I don't even understand the rule myself. This is all he's trying to do. This is going to be a sack. He does throw it away. There's no receiver there. He got away with one.
Third down and 4. 4 wide receivers for the Lions. And if you were wondering about Mouse Davis and his famed run and shoot attack, it includes 4 receivers and 1 running back. Neil Lomax and Jim Kelly in the USFL operated out of that system. Penalty marker down and a delay of the game call, as Hilger couldn't get the play underway in time.
Delay, offense, 5 yards, third down.
And that's a big difference, because third and 4, you may try a run or a pass. Third and 9, no question.
Well, and it also changes what you're going to see from a defense. Singletary here may have bothered Hilger's concentration a little bit by revving his engine a little bit, coming right at him. But the part about the defense, what they're going to see on third and 5, you may see more man coverages, and then you would run man pass routes like picks or crossing patterns. On third and 10, you're probably going to be seeing zone, and that's more yardage and it's a more difficult situation.
Wayne Fonts has the headset off, wants to know what's happening out there. The clock in the north end zone is not working. That's the 45-second clock, and that's the clock that Hilger was looking at as he called the play.
Well, that might have been the reason
the clock
why.
is out. 45-second clock is out. So the quarterback couldn't see. Both clocks are not out. There will be no penalty.
Now that's a great call right there. I know the fans aren't going to like it, but that is being fair. The clock is out. The quarterback could not read it, had no idea how much time he had to get the play underway. And that shows me a lot. The referee's taking control and being fair to Rusty Hilger and the Lions.
Justice.
And of all places here in Soldier Field for a visiting team,
No,
huh?
they've been just. They're just here. They're just. 3rd down and 4 for the Lions now. 4 wide receivers. Clock is still out. Bring the ball back to the 22. Hilger is hit as he lets go and throws it into the Bear sideline. Again, Rivera put a good rush on it. No, make that Hampton. They weren't going to get Hilger a chance to do anything here.
Well, this is what it's like being quarterback. You see Singletary with those big eyes of his coming at you. They bring in a couple guys on the blitz. Hampton gets in right now on Hilger and forces the incompletion.
So on 4th down, Jim Arnold will kick, and Dennis McKinnon is back. The Bears are looking at some good field position. High snap, and Arnold gets off a good kick. McKinnon will call for the fair catch, and he has it at midfield. And we'll return to Soldier Field after this word from your local state. Veteran stalwarts McMichael, Hampton, and Singletary.
They are literally and figuratively the heart of the Bear defense.
1st down for the Bears. They're in midfield, leading 10-6 early here in the 4th quarter. Jim Harbaugh all the way, quarterback for the Bears. First down, Dennis Gentry. 1st down for Gentry. Dennis Gibson on the tackle and a gain of 14. And there may be news more from Green Bay. Let's go to Brent Musburger in New York. Brent?
Makowski pulls out at the 11-yard line and finds Patrick on the near side. He's in for the touchdown. The Bears could wrap up a division title today, but Green Bay missed the extra point. 16-3 and back to Dick.
You're listening to the end of the roar here at Soldier Field. They announced the score, as you learned, 16-3 in favor of the Packers. Bears with a 1st down on the Lions 36. Anderson drops the ball, and in his disgust kicks it away on 1st down. They announced the score, and as you know, the Packers missed the conversion. So the crowd knows that the Bears can capture the division title, but they're still locked in a tight duel, 10-6 with the Lions here, Dan.
Well, they are, and you know that the Bears heard that score also. They realized that, hey, the Vikings have a lot of trouble playing against the Packers. How do you figure it? They're courses for horses. Well, they're teams for teams. The Packers seem to have the Vikings number.
2nd down and 10 after 36. Harbaugh fires it away. He was getting a great pass rush from the Lion defense. McKinnon was the closest defender. That'll bring up 3rd down.
Benny Blades came on the blitz that time also, and he got right into Harbaugh's face. Good job of Harbaugh, though, realizing not to try and force it in there and not to take the sack. Takes a sack here, they have no chance at a field goal.
Let's look at how the quarterbacks have fared today. Good percentage for Harbaugh.
You got to wonder about all those drop passes, though, that the Lions had earlier in this game, especially the long pass down the sidelines to Garry James. It might have been a touchdown if he hung on.
3rd down and 10 at the 36. Danny Salamua is the nose tackle now for the Lions, and Harbaugh is sacked back to the 43-yard line by Salamua, who came in when Jerry Ball had to leave the game.
Salamua is not used to this weather, I guarantee you. He's from San Diego, and his heritage is Samoan, and he gets right in on the old quarterback here. Beats Hilgenberg right now off the snap, and this has got to give the Lions a big boost when you lose one guy to have his replacement come in and do a good job.
That's the 1st sack of the game for either team. 4th down, and Brian Wagner will kick, and Manley goes back. So the Bears had the ball at midfield and couldn't move it against the Lions. Now Wagner will kick. It'll go into the end zone for a touchback, and the Lions will take it out on the 20-yard line. So Detroit's defense has kept them in the game. No question about it. Now let's see what their offense does. Bounce is wearing, didn't I, Dan?
Yes, you did. But, you know, let's get back to Jim Harbaugh here. He's the guy that's doing it with his legs today, not with his arm. This is an outstanding play for him and a well-designed play. The Lions had no middle linebacker. Harbaugh sees it and gets into the end zone.
And it's a play that you called when the Bears came out with 4 wide receivers.
Well, see, I never called this play when I was playing. That's why it's easy to call from up here. Don't have to carry it.
That's been the only touchdown in the game. Meanwhile, the Lions with a first down on the 20. James Jones. Good strength out to the 26-yard line. Sean Smith on the stop. Again, Green Bay leading 16-3. They missed the conversion. And we'll take a look at other scores on the CBS Sports Wire.
Wonderful power from Jones that time. He carried about 3 tacklers with him. Picked up a nice gain.
His best performance this season was against Kansas City when he gained 45 yards. Today he's gained 19. You look at the wide receivers for the Bears huddled together. Second down and 4, Lions on their 26. Hilger with a short drop completes to Chadwick. A Lion first down to the 43. Singletary downfield on the stop, good for 17 yards. Chadwick's been bothered with an Achilles heel problem all year.
Talking to Hilger yesterday, he said he went back a couple of years ago to watch a film of a couple of years ago of Dan Marino and the Miami Dolphins when they defeated the Bears and prevented them from having that undefeated season in '85. And he noticed that Marino threw a lot of quick slant patterns to his wide receivers. You saw him do it that time. It's something that he wants to do and needs to do to be effective this afternoon.
First down, Lions on their 43. Plenty of time remaining. Once again, James Jones, but nothing doing this time around. Steve McMichael was right all over. You know, it's interesting, Dan, you talk about the way Hilger studied what Marino did and that Fonz talked to John Robinson. There's a lot of work you can do and people you can talk to and resources to use when you get ready for an opponent like this.
There really are, and teams are willing to share information as long as they don't have to play the team they gave the information to a little bit later. I guarantee if the Rams had to play the Bears next week, Robinson would have been talking to Fonz because he didn't want to get word back.
You can see where the Bears defense has snuffed out the Lions. In the pass, second down and 12. The pass to Chadwick, and he holds on to it in a big play for the Lions. Vesty Johnson on the stop, Jackson, and a 32-yard gain, and the Lions are in Bear territory.
I tell you what, Rusty Hilger's having a great afternoon. If he would have had a couple more completions from those drop passes, he'd been having a fantastic afternoon. This is a great catch by Chadwick. He keeps his eye on the ball all the way. Jackson has his back to the ball, had no idea it was coming. Good adjustment to the ball while it's in the air.
First down, Lions on the Bear 27. 10-6 Chicago leading. And the Bear fans call for their defense to bring a halt to all of this. They pick up the blitz. Hilger overthrows his tight end, Pat Carter. Maurice Douglas covering, and it'll be second down.
One way of bringing a halt to any offensive surge is to bring the blitz. The Bears did that time. The Lions were ready for it. Hilger had the deep pattern going to Carter, but Carter couldn't beat the one-on-one coverage that time.
There's Anthony Page, who has a 20-yard scamper to his credit today, and James going out of the ball game.
The Lion offensive line's having a super afternoon.
Second down 10. Here's Page. Page slicing off tackle. Gets to about the 20-yard line. It'll be third down and a couple. Jim Morrissey on the stop. There you're getting a look at John Wojciechowski, who's forced to play right tackle today for the injured Keith Van Horn, who then moved into left tackle for Jimbo Covert. There's the yardage story, and the Lions, who have struggled in the second half this year, are performing a lot better than they have in most of their games.
They're really believing in themselves, really playing like a team that's got a future.
Third down and 4 on the 21. And the handoff, the snap goes to James Jones, and he's got a first down. The direct snap to the fullback, James Jones, not to the quarterback, and a first down for the Lions inside the 15. Tate making the stop.
Mott will snap this ball directly to Jones, and he finds a nice hole over the right side. Salem and Milinchek give him the hole. Good design on that play.
First down Lions on the Bear 12. 10-6 Chicago, but their lead is in jeopardy. Page gets an opening inside the 5 and down to about the 1. Douglas on the tackle, and the Lions will have a second down. Or a first and goal. That was a 10-yard pickup by Page.
Tony Page is a load, Dick. He gets through this hole, and now he's going to be tough to bring down. Good tackle there by Douglas. He got a little bit of help on the outside, but Page is having a wonderful afternoon. That defensive line, or the offensive line of the Lions, is doing a great job.
The Bears have a 6-man front with Harris, McMichael, Shannon, Hampton, Dick Shapura, Sean Smith. On first and goal at the 1. James Jones doesn't get in. Sean Smith was the first to get to him.
Lions have had trouble all year long trying to score touchdowns on the ground. James Jones has no touchdowns rushing. This time they run into a brick wall there, all in black shirts.
Mike Ditka, who's aware of the Vikings trailing the Packers. You can be sure Wayne Fonts looking for a stunning upset. Second and goal at the 1.
Crowd's going to make it very difficult on Hilger here.
And going over the top is Garry James, and he stopped again. John Shannon is doing the war dance, a rookie free agent from Kentucky, and it'll be third and goal for the Lions.
Mike Singletary also gets in here as the Lions are a little bit too high as they come off the line of scrimmage. But look how far in the backfield there, number 75, Shannon and Singletary are. This is from behind Singletary. He reads the play right now, and he's going to fill this hole. Watch how low the Bear defensive line goes. Great job as Singletary met Page right in the hole.
Look at Singletary revving up the Bear defense on third and goal at the 1. And Hilger will call a timeout. It is the Lions' first timeout of the second half, with 5:51 remaining in the fourth quarter, and an important timeout and a big play coming up. And the question is now for the Lions, if they fail here, a field goal would leave them 1 point short. Do they go for it on fourth down? And that goes back to the, you know, let's be loose, we have nothing to lose theory. But the question is, what do they run here?
Well, you know, they've tried it twice now right in the center of the line. You see Singletary waving his arms there. You know these 65,000 fans are going to be yelling like crazy. I wouldn't be surprised to see a little play action pass in this situation. I don't think you'll see Hilger rolling out with the ball on a bootleg or anything like that, because he's kind of gimpy with a sore leg. We'll find out soon, though.
There is Mike Singletary exhorting the defense on.
And this really, it's just a test of wills right now. Who wants it more? Singletary is telling his guys, hey, listen, it's up to us. We got a great chance now to stop them here and win the division today. If they score here, it's going to be tough.
Here it comes, third and goal at the 1. Over the top, it's Garry James, touchdown, Detroit. And again, the offensive line for the Lions just gave him enough daylight. And Garry James over the top scores just the 7th touchdown rushing by the Lions this season.
Well, Tony Page gets a great block here on Singletary, clears him out of the way, and that's just an outstanding leap to get into that end zone. James took off from about the 3 and almost did like a double pike position to get into that end zone. Great, great effort.
Murray will try to add the extra point to give the Lions a 3-point lead with Arnold holding. It's blocked. The kick is blocked. And now it means the Bears could win it with a field goal.
Well, they're all congratulating Al Harris. Let's see who gets it. This ball appeared to be kicked a little bit low. Good penetration there. This ball is just too low. Harris gets up there with the left hand to block it away.
And that's the first conversion miss all year by Ed Murray.
Suddenly, there's a whole new way of looking at sports sedans. The Mitsubishi Galant.
Could cut down to his right foot. 12-10 the score as Al Harris blocked the conversion by Murray. And on the kickoff, Thomas Sanders returning for the Bears. And he is bottled up at the 30-yard line by Devon Mitchell. Next Saturday on CBS Sports, an interconference battle between the Redskins and the Cincinnati Bengals. A lot at stake for the Bengals, and the Redskins, the defending Super Bowl champs, want to be spoilers, and maybe they'll still be alive for a playoff berth. Followed by the season premiere of NCAA basketball, DePaul and Georgetown. A big test for the Hoyas. They haven't had one yet. That's 3:45 Eastern. Big doubleheader on CBS. First down, Bears on the 30-yard line. 5:37 to go in the fourth quarter. James Thornton on the receiving end. Picks up about 5 yards. Here is the extra point block once again.
Well, what you do is you put your tall guys in the middle. Right here is Al Harris. He's going to squeeze between the right guard and the center, but this ball is just kicked too low. Harris does not even leave his feet hardly. There's his left hand go up, knocks it away, but Murray's got to be hung with that one, not his offensive line's fault.
Second down and 5 for the Bears on their own 35. Thomas Sanders on a sweep. He'll have the first down as the Lions had a couple of opportunities to stop him. Time remaining under 5 minutes. Bruce McNorton on the stop. See where they spot the ball. It's awfully close. Jerry Ball is back in at nose tackle for the Lions.
This is really what it's all about. You know, you have an opportunity to become champions of your division, but you're going to have to earn it. The Lions have played a great game today, coming in against a lot of adversity. They're forcing the Bears to the limit.
First down on the 40 for the Bears. Sanders again on a sweep right. And he picks up maybe 2 yards, and that's all. Stop made by Ball and Blades.
This is Kevin Butler on the sidelines. You know he's trying to stay warm, but it's more mentally. What is he thinking about? Well, fellas, just get me down there in range. Get me down to about 25, so it's only about a 32-yarder. Something like that. Something where I know without a shadow of a doubt I can win this ball game for you.
Butler already is a 35-yard field goal today for the Bears, who have a second down and 8 on their 42. Harbaugh getting a lot of time. Completes to Suey, short of a first down by about a yard. Chris Spielman on the tackle. Dramatic scene at Soldier Field in Chicago. In a game that people didn't think was important, could loom tremendously important to the Bears, who trail the Lions 12-10, and the clock running in the fourth quarter. The Vikings are trailing the Green Bay Packers in their game in Green Bay, and as you know, if the Vikings are upset today and the Bears can pull this one out, the Bears will be the NFC Central Division champions and not have to worry about a showdown next week in Minnesota. The way the Vikings are playing, it would be a worry. 3rd and 1, first down to Anderson. Jerry Ball on the stop. They get Sanders for the first down. Clock running, 2:45, and the Bears have 2 first timeouts left.
Simple blast play right up the middle. Sanders is going to go off the left side behind Matt Suey. Nobody there for Suey to block, and what Sanders does very important is he didn't mess around with that play. He knew he only needed a yard. He stuck his head in there and got a couple.
Wayne Fonts, who's 2-1 as an interim head coach, and Mike Ditka, who wants home field advantage and a division title. First down on the Lion 48. Harbaugh's pass nearly intercepted by Spielman, who's done just about everything else this afternoon.
The Lions are going to make the Bears earn it. They're not going to give it to them in a big play. Look at the depth of the linebackers. Here's Jamison there, and Spielman is well in great position down the field, preventing this completion. But the Lions are going to be in zone coverage the whole way down. The Bears are not going to get an easy one on them.
We have said all day that the Bears don't want to put Jim Harbaugh in a position of having to win the game, and that's what it's come down to here.
Well, that's what playing quarterback in this league's all about. You got those situations, you've got to come through.
Second down and 10. Close to the 2-minute warning. In the pass caught by Thornton. They'll have a first down and out of bounds inside the 40. Gain of 11.
This is a man they call RoboCop. When you look at those arms of his, you get a pretty good idea. This is him in motion here. Just a simple flat pattern here. A quick three-step drop, and there's the ball. This is the bonus, though, that Thornton gives you. Watch the hit there on Benny Blades.
Not only that, but the Bears get an extra play. There are 2:01 remaining, so they will get a play before the 2-minute warning as Kevin Butler starts to think about a situation, a scenario in which he may be called upon to win the game. Danny Salamea is back in at nose tackle. He has the only sack of the day today. On the carry, Matsui. And we'll have our 2-minute warning with 1:57 showing on the clock. We'll be back to Soldier Field after this message. Here, the timeouts show each team with 2 remaining. We're in the midst of our 2-minute warning. Green Bay leading Minnesota 16-6, and we understand there are 9 minutes to go in that game in Green Bay. It'll be second down and 5 for the Bears on the Lion 32. Thomas Sanders stopped at the 31-yard line. Will bring up third down. If you're thinking about Kevin Butler's range, his career longest kick is 52 yards. This year, his longest was 43 yards, and so you figure they need about 6 yards to put him in position for what would be his longest kick this year.
The good news is that he is going with the wind. The wind will be at his back when he kicks. The bad news is he's only hit 2 out of 5 over 40 yards all year long.
It'll be third down and 4 at the 31. Neil Anderson, the lone setback. Here comes the blitz, and Harbaugh's hit, and McKinnon makes the catch inside the 15.
Here's James Griffin and Benny Blades on the safety blitz. Harbaugh with great athletic ability, knowing he has man-to-man coverage on McKinnon. Got the ball off, McKinnon made the grab. But this is what it's all about, taking the hit, delivering the ball, and being in a position to win the game.
William White on the stop. First and 10 at the 14. Bears are in field goal range. That may be the biggest play of the year for Chicago. Matsui goes outside, and maybe a yard on the play. Under a minute remaining. Jamison on the stop.
Now, if I'm the Lions, I'm going to stop the clock right now. I've got 2 timeouts. The Bears are in almost guaranteed position to kick the winning field goal.
But they're letting the clock. Nope, it stops. 46 seconds to go. Now it runs. I saw the clock stop for several seconds at 46.
Well, it did, but I don't understand why the Lions aren't calling timeout. They're going to need to get the ball back if Butler makes this field goal.
Second down and 9 at the 13. Anderson to the 15 and wrestled down, and that could have been a tough play situation for the Bears if Anderson had been thrown for a loss. The clock stops with 14 seconds to go as the Bears call timeout. Blades made the stop on Anderson.
Well, Michael Kofer had a chance to make the play of the game. He's on the right side of the screen here as they fake the handoff and give on the reverse to Anderson. If he makes this tackle, this makes the field goal coming up about 45 yards. But Anderson pulls away, and now he gets a great run down inside, saving a very disastrous situation.
14 seconds remain. The Bears have 1 timeout left. The Lions lead at 12-10. A blocked extra point has put the Bears in a position to win the game with a Kevin Butler field goal. But the play of the game has to be the 17-yard pass from Harbaugh, who got hit as he let go of it, and Dennis McKinnon, who made the catch. But it all could be on the shoulders of Kevin Butler, and with the Vikings losing, it could be for a division title.
Well, the Bears will just position this ball in front of the uprights now with a simple handoff probably to Suey and let Butler come on and win it.
Third down and 8. Suey holds on. And the clock stops with the Bears. Last timeout with 8 seconds to go. And here comes Mr. Butler.
You want to talk about pressure a little bit? This is why you have specialists. It's his job to put the ball between the uprights, win a division title for the Bears, and go home. That's what a little pressure is.
What does it all mean? Well, if you don't win the division and the Bears are a wild card, they may be at home, but that's the only game they would play at home. Then they would have a short week because the game will be played the day after Christmas and go on the road the next week. It means all the difference in the world to Mike Ditka and the Bears. And Kevin Butler will try the field goal to win it, 32 yards. Wagner will hold, and Jay Hilgenberg will center the ball. Butler's kick is good. Field goal, and the Bears lead it 13-12.
How do you spell relief? Here it is. Oh, right now. Boy, hit it good. First guy to know it's through.
"55 yards, 14 plays. The big one was the pass to McKinnon for 17 yards, and the Bears lead the Lions 13-12. The missed conversion by Ed Murray, the block by Al Harris, who made the defensive play of the game, and then Harbaugh took a lick, hit McKinnon. And here is Wayne Font's reaction when Butler's kick split the uprights.
You got to be awfully impressed with the job that Fonts has done, bringing this team into Soldier Field here, fighting the Bears all the way down. Really has turned that ball club around in a short time.
But all the Bears are interested in is winning a division title, and if they can avoid a showdown in Minnesota, where the Vikings beat the Bears handily at Soldier Field earlier this year, it would be such a relief for the Bears and a huge break. 18-6. Green Bay leading Minnesota in the fourth quarter, and the Bears may be on the verge of wrapping up the division title unexpectedly this afternoon. The kickoff by Butler, and it's Carl Painter at the goal line. Time is going to run out, and the Bears will win it. Try by Fonts and the Lions, and for Mike Ditka, a huge win, 13-12. And all the Bears can do now is wait and hope and root for Green Bay to finish off the Vikings and wrap it up today.
I'd like to really give a big tip of the hat to Jim Harbaugh. We talked about how we didn't want him, the Bears didn't want him.